Proceeding on, this is Beastmen turn 2. And first picture you'll see here is his unit of Ungors show up, rolled another 6, and so they come behind my boar boy bunker, and they're going to start shooting them. The next picture is he charges in with his other chariot, and the Cygor joins in against my wolf riders, and they're pretty much, I know they're toast. So, and going on, this right here, his Minotaurs assault my Black Orcs in the building, and this is the rest of his army kind of dances around a little bit. He's got another chariot which moves over to the other side in front of his Gore herd, and the Harpies move to the back. Finally, what you see here is he charges in. He actually charges my stone thrower, and they don't stand much of a chance, even though they're just Ungors. And there's his lone Razor Gore hanging out on the flank. This right here, you can see this is his shooting, and he's managed to kill a boar boy. I failed my 3-up armor save, as they've got the shield and plus the board and the light armor. And then this is my wolf riders. 2 of them actually survived, and like I said, I managed to kill one of the chariots. And then they pursued, and they got away, but it's 2 out of 10, so they need double ones to rally. So I don't think that's going to happen. And right here, finally, he combat reforms after killing my other stone thrower. So here we have it. This is my turn 2. And first off, pretty much everything moves forward. The trolls and the big uns actually kind of switch places a little bit. And the boar boys move up to provide that leadership bubble. I play around with my chariots. One of the chariots actually goes in. I charge him in against the Doom Bull and those Minotaurs. And this was probably a bit of a mistake on my part, as all it ended up doing, I did manage to kill one Minotaur from the impact hits and the attacks, but the chariot died, and then those Minotaurs got to ramp up a little bit. And then you can see the Night Goblins just also moved forward to continue to protect the flank. See next right here, you see my Wolf Riders. They didn't rally. They continue to flee, and you can see the Fanatic right here. They got popped out at the very start of the game by the ambushing Ungors at the board, and they just continued to dance the entire game, pretty much doing nothing. And this picture, in my magic phase, I cast the buffed up version of Foot of Gork, and it steps on not too many. Maybe I got like 7 or 8, 9 kills from it, something like that, 10. But it was enough to, I think I got exactly 10 kills. Anyway, it was enough to cause a panic on the Gore herd, and he was within his BSB, but he failed. I think he got like a 10 and an 11 on his leadership tests. And so they ran, and I charged that chariot, and that's why the chariot is fleeing. It was charged by the big uns, and then it fled from them. You see, he managed to kill my chariot, just barely. Actually, the supporting attack is what got that last wound, and I had a chance to save, and I didn't save. So the chariot died, and they combat reformed to face the big uns, actually, and ignore the Black Orcs in the tower. Continuing on, this is his turn 3, and he charges with his Razor Gore at my wolves to force them off the board, and he actually pursues all the way off the table so that I can't do anything to his guy. And the next, his Gores continue to flee, but just barely. They only fled like 5 or 6 inches the second time, and so they didn't quite go off the table. And the chariot, though, managed to rally and turned around, which I thought was... right here you can see his Cygor is kind of hiding, as he's pretty much just avoiding my Night Goblins and my chariot right there. And then this way he's going to throw a stone. Throughout the entire battle, this guy, he kept trying to throw stones, and he managed to do 2 wounds to himself. So not the best rolling on my opponent's part with that. So I don't know if Cygors are necessarily a good choice or not, because his didn't do much. And his chariot actually moves into the flank of my Night Goblins, and this actually prevents me in my turn from charging him, because I actually can't see him, pretty much. Right here, his Minotaur and Doom Bull and all that charging to the big uns, and at first I was not concerned at all, because I'm like, oh well, I've got enough guys, I'll just sit there forever and grind it out, and eventually I'll kill him off. And right here again, his shooting from those ambushing Ungors killed yet another. I failed another one of my 3 of armor saves and lost another boar. And the thing is, I mean, he's hitting on 5s, wounding on 6s. He's getting 1 wound through, and all I've got to do is make a 3-up save, and I failed 2 in a row. So that's why they're down to very small numbers right now. And finally, he charges again, charges into the other stone thrower, and he will most likely be successful in killing that. And what happens here actually is not amazingly. He kills 1, I kill 1 back. He's up, or actually, either way, they managed to hold, surprisingly, because they're steadfast on whatever their leadership is, because it's War Machine. There's my awesome 5 roll, so they did not. He did not destroy it in this round. And as I said, combat. He wins combat against my biggins with all those guys. I did not very many wounds, I think, because I had to allocate a lot of attacks to his general, who has the 1-up armor save with a reroll and I believe a ward save on top of it. And then he's got that item where anything he saves bounces back. So every time I don't wound him, I actually end up killing yet another one of my guys. So I'm bleeding guys pretty fast. And then he wins combat here, and so again he ramps up, and so he's up to about 8 attacks on his next round. So, and here it is. I charge in my trolls to try and help out in that combat, and we'll get into the results of that in a little bit. And then you can see actually the Black Orcs have moved out of the tower. So yeah, here's a better picture there. They moved out of the tower. My thoughts was, at this point, his Minotaurs are locked in. His main unit that can hold the tower is near the back of the board edge, and so I have no reason not to move on out here and try and kill some things with my Black Orcs, just because I felt like I had the game locked up, and it wouldn't have been any fun to just leave them in the tower the entire time. So they actually end up stepping out for that reason. Just definitely not a very smart tactical choice, but it was the fun choice. So, and then right here you see my Night Goblins and my Chariot turn so that they can actually see and fight some things. And in the back, right here, this is, I cast Hand of Gork to move my Black Orcs even closer to his guys. And then you can see there the Foot of Gork template was also cast, again the souped up version. This time it just went to town. It was ridiculous. I think it stomped 3 or 4 times on him, and 1 time also on my Black Orcs, which is what happened. Turn it ended up killing about 10 Black Orcs and close to 25, 26, maybe more Gores. It was just ridiculous. Just kept stomping and stomping. It was. I got to the point where I was just, come on, end, you know. Anyway. So, and right here you see there's his Ungors on the hill with no War Machines left. So that was a successful move on his part. And right here you can see the result. After all this fighting, this is what I'm down to now, as he's just done a ton of attacks. And what I did is I made a bit of a mistake. I decided to try the Vomit because it could get through his Doom Bull's great armor, which it did. The problem is that it's a strength 5, and you just roll to wound. And I did 1 wound, but I didn't understand. I didn't realize that he had. I think he has. It's either 4 or 5. I think he might have 5 wounds. It's just crazy. So yeah, I thought he was close to dead because I was thinking normal Warlord, 3 wounds, I can finish him off. And you know, if I had realized that he had that many wounds, I would have allocated attacks on and finished off the unit, you know, to reduce the attacks against my guys. But what can you do? All right, coming in here, this is Beastman turn 4, and what he does here is he ends up charging. He first charges my Chariot, and I flee with it, and it bounces all the way through the tower, through my guys, makes his dangerous terrain test, so it ends up being fine. And then he redirects into my Night Goblins, and so his Chariot ends up fighting those Night Goblins, which I'm definitely okay with, because I'm pretty sure they can take the single Chariot. And then right here, you'll notice the tower's gone. It's not actually. It actually is there. It's just in order to move those harpies in, we move the tower out of the way, and the Cygor is actually not there either. We made a mistake. We fixed it. He ended up there, and then I'm like, wait a second, isn't there actually a tower there? And we're like, oh yes, there is. And so he ended up doing nothing this turn instead. So he's actually just ignore the fact that he's in there on that picture. And you can see he charges at my trolls who are now outside of my leadership bubble, and so they're not going to rally. They just kept running and ran away. And so right here, his chariot charges into my black orcs, and they of course hold, and they are gonna fight that out, and it doesn't stand much of a chance, honestly. And right here, his harpies are fighting with my my level 4 shaman and the boar boys, and he actually manages to. He does most of the attacks against my shaman and manages to wound my shaman. And then I killed 2 of his 2 or 3. I'm not sure how many he had, but I killed at least 2 of them. And so 1 combat, but they managed to stick around. And at the end of fighting all those minotaurs, they were up to 10 attacks or something like that now, and they just killed off. They killed off pretty much the entire unit. The only thing left was my orc, my BSB, and he needed double ones to say. I rolled once, got it like a 4, and then I rolled again, and that's the double ones right there to keep him in combat. So he, so he's just rock solid, and apparently. And here's that picture again. There he is by himself, standing there, fighting it out, to the last. And then we go on to my turn 4, except for due to time constraints, he had somewhere to go, so we just called it. He pretty much just called it at that point, and it was probably a good call. As you can see where my black orcs ended up, I can just move them right back into the tower on my turn, or Hand of Gork. But I probably wasn't going to do that. I was probably just going to move my black orcs back into the tower, force him to come after me with. Hopefully in combat, I was going to get rid of that last. Maybe do 1 more wound before dying against the Doom Bull, but probably not. He probably was going to kill my BSB, but my Black Orcs would have still been around, stubborn, leadership 9 in the tower, and plus depending his 2 characters that are left, I believe his Lord now had like 4 wounds on him, and his or 3 wounds. He had the 1 wound left, and then also his BSB also was down to his last wound. And so charging my Black Orcs, it would have been disaster for him, as I only had to do 3 wounds total actually to wipe out those 3 models. I think they were all down to their last wound, and so he pretty much called it. We're gonna say victory to the Orcs, because if nothing else, I might have tried some magical solution as well. Probably tried to stomp them again with a Foot of Gork. And given the way my magic was going this game, it's a game Orctorius managed to hold on to Watchtower, and now we're going to go on to kind of some thoughts about the game. So my thoughts on this game, things learned. Doom Bulls and Minotaurs are tough, and what you want to do against that unit is isolate it, pick out when you want to strike it, but the key is to not engage those Doom Bulls or Minotaurs until you're ready to just try and wipe them out wholesale. Do not leave them in prolonged combat. And then the opposite's true. If you're a Beastman player, take some Minotaurs, and what you want to do is go ahead and get them in combat with something weak. Slaves or Goblins or something for the first little while at least, because they will just ramp up to the point where they're getting so many attacks that they'll just slaughter wholesale anything that they're fighting against. The other thing is as you can see, Hand of Gork is awesome. It gives you so much tactical flexibility as an Orc player. It allows you to outmaneuver faster opponents that are swifter, that can move faster. You can outmaneuver them. It brings you so many options. And then going on with that, additional things learned. Foot of Gork is devastating. Always cast it at the souped up version. Who cares about your own guys? It works best if you cast the big version and just hope that you can roll 4s again and again, and 4, 5, or 6 again and again and again, and just totally devastate units. And particularly against toughness 4 units, it's golden, because it's strength 6, and so toughness 4 unit is just gonna just bleed out. And the other thing for Beastman players, apparently scouts work. And ambushers work as long as you keep them in small units where they're not worth your opponent's efforts to kill them. So keep them small, keep them just little tiny and annoying harassers, and maybe you get lucky and you can pick off the odd character or weaken that all important bunker. So anyway, those are my thoughts, and thanks for listening.